11, Stuart Smith.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for the Environment. What improvements in water quality has the government achieved from its Fresh Start for Freshwater budget allocation?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, we're making good progress in improving freshwater quality in a number of significant lakes. Last week I celebrated with the West Coast community, including Maureen Pugh, our List MP in waiting, the achievement of water quality targets at the West Coast largest lake, Lake Brunner, 5 years ahead of schedule. 62 kilometres of fencing has been completed, 21,000 plants have been established alongside the tributaries of that lake, including from the $200,000 that the government committed to the clean-up. It is a remarkable achievement that has been, those freshwater improvements in that large lake have been achieved, like I say, 3 years ahead of when we were expecting to be able to reduce the risks that have been raised.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Stuart Smith.
What progress has been achieved from the program in respect of Lake Taupo and the Rotorua Lakes?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, Lake Taupo is New Zealand's largest freshwater lake, and over the last 3 decades there has been increased concerns over nutrient levels. A world-leading cap-and-trade scheme on nitrogen has been put in place with $36 million of government money. The goal was to reduce the nitrogen load by 20% or 110 tonnes by 2018. I am pleased to inform the House
If the Minister now wishes to continue.
There's no hope for somebody today. The Greens are laughing. The Greens are laughing.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith, if he wants to complete his answer.
Mr Speaker, I'm pleased to report that those water quality improvements in Lake Taupo have been achieved 3 years ahead of schedule. I'm also pleased to report that Lake Rotoiti is also a lake that has had significant concerns over water quality and it is now in its best condition in 25 years as a consequence of the government's improvement program.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Stuart Smith.
I dare say the Minister doesn't have any responsibility for that water.
Can we have the supplementary question?
What are the next steps in the government's program for improving freshwater quality?
Mr Speaker, there is more to do. The first step is to support regional councils in implementing the new limits framework. That's why myself and Minister Guy are investing in the further development overseer and developing new regulations around good practice management. The second challenge is around the proposed regulations on fencing stock out of streams, rivers and lakes. The Land and Water Forum has proposed detailed rules in this regard. We'll be consulting on those next year with the intention to implement them by the 1st of July 2017. The third proposal is further investment in freshwater clean-up initiatives, and I'll be seeking additional funding in budget 2016 to make sure that we maintain this positive momentum.
Question number 12, Honourable David Cunliffe.